The judge's gavel hit the block. Divorce granted. This marriage is dissolved. Those words came out of her mouth at 10:47 a.m. on a Thursday. The paperwork was stamped, signed, filed. I was legally no longer Mrs. Carter. I walked out of the courthouse single, numb, holding a manila envelope that contained the death certificate of the marriage I once believed would last forever. 3 weeks later, that same judge called us both back into the same courtroom. For a miracle nobody saw coming. My name is Jenna. Caleb and I got married 12 years ago under a massive oak tree with 250 people cheering. He cried when he saw me walk down the aisle. I cried when he promised in sickness and in health, till death do us part. We meant it. We had our son Hudson a year later, then twin girls 3 years after that. For a long time we were happy, really happy, then we weren't. It started with distance, then silence, then secrets. I found out about the affair on our 10th anniversary. Instead of celebrating, I was sitting on the bathroom floor reading text messages that made me throw up. Her name was Lauren. She was younger, single, and apparently everything I wasn't anymore. Caleb moved out 2 days later. He said he was happier than he'd been in years. I said, then go. And he did. The next 18 months were war. Ugly texts, ugly lawyer letters, ugly fights over holidays and furniture. I hated him so much I couldn't even say his name without shaking. I told God I was done praying for him. I told my friends I couldn't wait to be free. And on that Thursday morning in court, I finally got what I thought I wanted. I walked out of the courthouse and threw my wedding rings into the fountain outside. I didn't cry. I felt nothing. 3 weeks later, I was at Target buying groceries when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. Mrs. Carter? This is Judge Ramirez's clerk. The judge needs both you and Mr. Carter back in her chambers tomorrow morning at 9. It's urgent. I laughed out loud in the cereal aisle. We're divorced. There's nothing left to talk about. The clerk was quiet for a second, then said, Ma'am, just come, please. I showed up the next morning in jeans and a ponytail, ready to tell them to leave me alone. Caleb was already there, sitting on the same bench we sat on the day it ended. He looked terrible, unshaven, eyes bloodshot. We didn't speak. The bailiff led us into the judge's private chambers, not the courtroom. Judge Ramirez was sitting behind her desk, and on the table in front of her was our divorce file, with a giant red vacated stamp across it. She didn't smile at first. She looked at both of us and said, 3 days after I signed your decree, I got a letter, hand-delivered, anonymous. It contained evidence that one party committed perjury on the financial disclosures. Enough evidence that I had no choice but to reopen the case and vacate the decree until it's investigated. I felt the floor drop out from under me. Then she slid the letter across the desk. It wasn't anonymous. It was from Lauren, the other woman. She had written a 6-page confession. She detailed how Caleb had lied about money, hidden assets, and worst of all, how he had cried in her apartment almost every single night begging God to bring him home to his family. She wrote that she finally realized she was being used as an escape, not loved as a partner. She ended the affair, returned everything he'd given her, and sent the proof to the judge because those children deserve their father and that woman deserves the truth. I couldn't breathe. Caleb was sobbing. Not little tears, full body, can't stand up sobs. He dropped to his knees right there in the judge's chambers and said, Jenna, I'm so sorry. I lied to everyone, including myself. I never stopped loving you. I woke up every day regretting walking out. Please forgive me. Please let me come home. The judge, stone-cold Judge Ramirez, who had ended hundreds of marriages, had tears in her eyes. She looked at me and said softly, Mrs. Carter, the decree is legally vacated. You are still married until this is resolved. I'm giving you 60 days to decide what you want to do. Court adjourned. We walked out of that courthouse still husband and wife. I didn't take him back that day, but I didn't throw the rings away again either. We spent the next 60 days in intensive counseling. He moved into the basement. He showed up every single day, school drop-offs, dinners, bedtime stories. He got on his knees every night and repented out loud. He sold the truck he bought during the affair to pay for counseling. He deleted every trace of that season. 58 days later, on the exact date we were supposed to finalize everything again, we stood in front of that same judge. But this time we asked her to dismiss the case entirely. She cried. She actually cried. She banged the gavel and said, "Case dismissed. Marriage intact. Go home and love each other." We renewed our vows in the backyard 3 months later. The kids carried signs that said, "Welcome home, Daddy. Judge Ramirez came as our guest." Yes, really. Today, 4 years after our divorce was final, Caleb is the husband I always dreamed of and the father our kids adore. We laugh harder, love deeper, fight fair, and thank God every single night that a judge's gavel couldn't end what he started. If you're watching this holding final papers, or you've already signed, or the judge has already ruled, hear me. Paper is not stronger than God. A gavel is not louder than grace. Your marriage is not over until he says it is. That same God who vacated our legal divorce is about to vacate yours. Drop your name in the comments. I'm praying for every single decree to be torn up, every heart to be turned back, and every family to be made whole. Your final is just the beginning of your miracle.